Yusek Rafaelita Aldaba. Yes. Please proceed. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Senator Gatchalian, our PQF National Coordinating Council members, Sec Benitez, and Sec Agrupies, colleagues from government and the private sector. The Department of Education and the Philippine Qualifications Framework National Coordinating Council Permanent Secretariat express our strong support for the proposed measures before this committee. Taken together, these bills represent a significant and timely reform package that responds to long-standing structural challenges mentioned by Edie Mark a while ago in the Philippine education, training, and professional system. And these measures provide a critical opportunity to move toward a more integrated, outcomes-based, learner-centered, and industry-responsive system. I would like to highlight, Madam Chair, that the Philippines already has a strong foundation for this transformation through the Philippine Qualifications Framework established under Republic Act 10968 and further strengthened by the Lifelong Learning Development Framework Act, also mentioned by former DG Irene Isaac. And complementing this is the Philippine Skills Framework, which ensures alignment with industry needs and evolving labor market demands. And in this context, we respectfully emphasize that the full impact of these reforms will be realized if they are explicitly aligned and anchored on the Philippine Qualifications Framework as the country's unifying qualifications architecture, ensuring coherence across sectors, comparability of qualifications, and seamless learner mobility. We likewise underscore the importance of, number one, strengthening coordination mechanisms across CHED, TESDA, PRC, and other relevant bodies. Second, operationalizing pathways through credit transfer, recognition of prior learning, and stackable micro-credentials. And lastly, developing interoperable data systems to support lifelong learning, learner progression, and evidence-based policymaking. We have also developed more specific recommendations, Madam Chair, which are currently being integrated and undergoing internal vetting. This will be submitted to the committee shortly for consideration. And with these refinements, the proposed measures can collectively enable a coherent national system that supports lifelong learning, enhances workforce readiness, and strengthens the country's global competitiveness. The Department of Education and the PQF Council stand ready to work closely with the committee and partner agencies to support the refinement and effective implementation of these reforms. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Very much, Undersecretary.
Yes.
Dr. Jail Cornelio. Yes.
Magandang hapon po. Hello, Senator. My name is Dr. Jail Cornelio. I am the director of the Science Education Institute of the Department of Science and Technology. I am representing Secretary Solidum in the light of our major role in the OST as the agency that manages the scholarship program of the OST. I know that the PMSP, the Presidential Merit Scholarship Program, has been brought up also as one of the points of conversation, and it is for that reason that Secretary Solidum has also asked us to represent him here. Senator Lauren, our position paper has been sent to your office, and our position is that this is a humble proposition from the Secretary himself that DOST, in the light of our extensive experience as a scholarship agency, Science Education Institute in particular, be considered a co-implementer of the Presidential Merit Scholarship Program. The idea is that DOST has a long-standing experience in managing science and technology scholarships. In fact, as many of you might know or might not know, DOST has about 54,000 scholars, Senator, all over the Philippines, 48,000 of whom are undergraduate scholars. We have about, in our budget, 7.6 billion, and a huge proportion of that goes into undergraduate scholarship administration. At the same time, SEI, the OST, has extensive experience in administering examination, a nationwide examination. This year alone, Senator, we have had the highest number of scholarship applicants, 97,000. We're saying all of this, we're bringing this up, Senator Lauren and our colleagues, for the simple reason that we understand that DOST and CHED can work together in the pursuit of widening access to higher education. In fact, CHED, you might be pleased to know, and DOST have had several conversations in harmonizing our scholarship programs. I know that Senator Lauren herself has mentioned that there may be too many scholarship programs abounding throughout the country. And that is true. We just hope that DOST could be part of this conversation precisely because of our extensive experience managing the scholarship programs. Our national examination, its integrity is in fact unassailable. As we speak, our people are already in quarantine preparing the examination for this coming June. And then finally, we also want to highlight that if this co-implementation scheme is pursued, DOST through DOST SEI, ma'ams and sirs, could take care of the scholarships with respect to science and technology priority programs. This is also a crucial and perhaps also a significant intervention on the part of the OST because based on our conversation with CHED yesterday, there is an appetite to learn and adopt from the experience of SEI in administering this scholarship. And we have been doing so quite effectively over the years, and especially in the past 2 years in which we have already implemented a lot of changes. Finally, our appeal is that, and our humble proposal is in support of CHED's growing mandate, but also understanding that CHED, and as we have heard today alone, needs a lot of assistance also from other agencies. So again, ma'am, the proposition of DOST, as Secretary Solidum has articulated in our position paper, is that DOST be considered a potential co-implementer of the Presidential Merit Scholarship Program. If this is implemented, ma'am, this will be on top of the many other scholarship programs that we already have.
We take note of that. Kaya na sinabi ko sa simula, hindi ibig sabihin na meron kaming panukalang batas ay dapat magawa. Naintindihan ko yung sinasabi nyo. In fact, maganda yung scholarship ng DOST. That's institutionalized, tagal na yan, di ba? Tapos ginawa namin yung Unifast. And then, ang dami na confusing nga. So, we don't have to enact it into law. I'm hearing it because it is a LEDAC priority. But we have to see everyone's opinion. And if no one is strongly for it, and the problem here is, what if we enact it now? And what if the next administration will not fund it? Yun ang usapan namin because it's called Bagong Pilipinas Merit Scholarship. We don't want any scholarship to be political in nature. In fact, we have a provision in the GAA, right, which you initiated, anti-EPAL provisions. So we don't like anything with regards to color or slogan, especially this is education. So just because I authored it does not mean that you have to agree. And I appreciate it when I am told that it's not necessary, or maybe we co-chair here, or maybe you rethink it. So because of this, we will rethink it. Dahil ang dami na and confusing ang scholarships, papaasahin mo na naman yung mga bata, tapos baka hindi mapondohan. Okay? Sige.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Chair Agrupis.
Yeah, I have to manifest to the manifestation of DOST why we welcome collaboration. Before the final drafting of the guidelines of the Presidential Merit Scholarship, we submitted to them. We called a meeting with them. Why do we need to bring out that suggestion here in the Senate when we had so many times meeting together and we finalized already the guidelines and ready to start this first semester. And before we identify the priority program as mandated by EDCOM, we agreed that we cover the 8 priority program that includes agriculture and fishery also, that is not covered in the OST. While we recognize and appreciate the excellent implementation of DOST, I think we really need to go back to the table and talk about it, because we already approved all the guidelines and submitted it to the Office of the President. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. So it's always good to hear two sides of a story. And I know that this is a CHED priority and it's a LEDAC priority. You're correct that perhaps the DOST position and CHED should have been ironed out before the hearing, but it's also fine that I hear this so that when we convert this hearing into a technical working group, we can see. Yes. So I feel the passion of Dr. Shirley Agrupis, ganyan din ako. Oo. Naintindihan ko rin naman ang DOST kasi meron kayong mga programa na pero hindi pala covered ang ibang mga sektor gaya ng agriculture. So let's study this, no? Let's study this. Nothing is perfect.
Madam Chair, going back to your comment on Unifast, I remember a few years back nung ginagawa Unifast, that's precisely why Unifast came about, because ang daming scholarship programs scattered among different government agencies. So kinonsolidate yan sa Unifast. That's why Unifast board laki-laki. No? So that's why there's only one body now managing scholarship programs. That's number one. Number two, this type of programs, I understand, Chair Agrupis, this is a new program. This year lang siya, no? So talagang nagkakaroon ng mga bagong programs depending on the need, depending kung sino yung nakaupo or sino yung nakaisip ng program. But it doesn't mean that we need to institutionalize it because programs change. No?
Yeah.
Nagbabago talaga ang programa eh. At mas maganda pa nga may flexibility ang CHED or ang Office of the President or different government agencies to come up with their programs. And kung maganda yung programa, then we can fund it rather than institutionalizing it after a change of administration or a change in need, mag-iiba na naman. No? So better have that flexibility.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was in 2015 where we authored, I was the principal author of the Unifast law. So I'm glad that it is useful. At the proper time, if you feel you study it, please. If you feel it needs to be amended, I'll be happy to be the author as well. But we will leave it at that there is this well-studied version, the Presidential Merit Scholarship. That's why I filed it. The DOST it's not an opposition, it's just a comment, yes? And CHED also has its position, so we take note of that. We would like to hear now, is there someone? Okay, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian has some questions because I said that we can only hold the meeting till 3 o'clock, it's 3:44, so before 4:05,
Yeah.
we'll have to go. You have a TWG and I
Yes,
have another
I have,
meeting as well. So we probably have 15 minutes. Is that okay? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just have one question that I want to put this on record, and this is directed to DILG. No, of course, yung LUC governance proposal, ang marami nagsasabi, it goes against the principle of local autonomy. So I want to get the opinion of the DILG, whether does it go against the principles of local autonomy? That's number one. And then number two, kung hindi naman, what are the legal basis that we can use in order to pursue this law? No?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Senator Win Gatchalian. So, with the committee's indulgence, I would like to convey the contents of our position paper dated April 23, 2026. As to the provision regarding the devolution of TESDAS training function to local governments, relative thereto, we would like to respectfully convey our reservation to the above stated provision. At the outset, the department take cognizance of the varying capacities and financial standing of local government units. Section 17 of the Local Government Code of 1991 enumerates the basic services and facilities to be delivered by local government units. Accordingly, the delivery of technical and vocational training is not among the services included in Section 17. However, the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Panlungsod, and Bayan are empowered to enact ordinances, issue resolutions, and allocate appropriations and funds for general welfare of the concerned LGUs, especially the establishment and the provision and operation of vocational and technical schools and similar post-secondary institutions, subject to the availability of funds and existing rules and regulations. Thus, the delivery of technical and vocational trainings cannot be a mandatory requirement for local government units. Additionally, concerns are also raised on the sustainability of delivery of technical and vocational services upon its complete devolution to local government units. Upon the expiration of the period during which TESDA is responsible for financing and capacitating LGUs, the LGUs shall assume responsibility for operations and related budgetary allocations. In this regard, the committee may take into consideration the restricted resources and capacity of some local government units, especially those belonging to lower income classification, in implementing these measures. On the second question raised by the committee on its letter, the role of local government units expressed in the proposed local universities and colleges governance bills. Under the law, the Commission on Higher Education has jurisdiction over all public and private institutions of higher education, as well as degree-granting programs in all post-secondary education institutions, both public and private. The Local Government Code of 1991 provides that local government units, through their respective sanggunians, subject to the availability of funds and existing vocational technical schools and similar post-secondary institutions, and with the approval of the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports. Post-secondary and tertiary education institution existing upon and created after the effectivity of Higher Education Act of 1994 are under the jurisdiction of CHED. In relation to this, the department interposes no objection on the passage of Local Universities and Colleges Governance Act. These subject bills will ensure a coherent and uniform governance structure for local universities and colleges, LUCs, align higher education policies, and guarantee the compliance of LUCs with the reasonable policies and standards set by the Commission on Higher Education. However, it is respectfully recommended that all leagues of LGUs, the League of Municipalities of the Philippines, Leagues of Cities of the Philippines, League of Provinces of the Philippines, and the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, or the ULAP, be consulted, as these measures, if enacted into law, will significantly affect LGUs. Signed, Attorney Romeo P. Benitez, Undersecretary for External, Legal, and Legislative Affairs.
Thank you for that manifestation. So we appreciate that the DILG supports this proposal, imposing guidelines on the creation of LUCs kasi kailangan talaga of quality, no? And because of the attractiveness ng free higher education, maraming local governments tayo ng local university, pero nalalaman nilang nila attend, ang hirap pala magpatakbo ng local university, no? So kawawa naman ng mga estudyante, kawawa rin yung school, no? So we're just putting order. We're not preventing the local governments from creating local universities. We're just putting order. And the order is they have to consult with CHED first, make sure that they can fulfill the requirements, and after fulfilling the requirements, then magtatayo na sila ng local university. Dahil ngayon nga, tayo muna bago compliance. With that, my last question, Madam Chair, with your permission, is to ED Carol. I saw in your presentation that walang distinction between offerings of LUCs and SUCs. Nasabi rin kanina yan ni ED Jenny. And ako, my opinion is we have to herd the LUCs into providing courses that are attuned to their local needs, 'di ba? Kung anong kailangan ng locality, yun ang dapat nilang i-offer. So in your opinion, Idikar, what is the best mechanism in order for the LUC be attuned to the local needs? Hindi lang yung kung anong popular, let's say criminology, no, offer sila criminology, or tourism offers, pero like pero wala ka naman tourist spot, no? So how do you what mechanism is the best to make it attuned?
There are two levers, Mr. Chair, that I think would be a good starting point. The first is the financing. Kasi as ED Jenny said, they're always looking for the cheapest program to offer, which is why in the law, there is already a stipulation. In the bill that is proposed, there's a stipulation that the budget should not be decreased just because kunyari hindi nakakampi ni Mayor yung LUC, biglang bababaan yung pondo, para may sustained talaga siya in terms of being able to continue and get the resources it requires to offer the programs that are responsive to the needs. The second is in the bill, before any program is started, they need to do a real understanding of the local community needs and consult with industry to make sure that it is responsive. And the third, sir, is to create pathways. Kasi po, kung ang titingnan natin is 4-year degrees only, maraming mahihirap talagang mag-commit sa isang 4-year full-time study, which is why community colleges or LUC sana should be the innovative laboratories for us to think about night classes, Saturday classes, hindi full-time lahat kasi you assume na working students yung mga mag-aaral sa'yo. Bigyan sila ng flexibility to innovate on models, because if we require them with the same stringent requirements of a research university, hindi nila magagawa yun. So being able to give them that flexibility to cater to the unique student body that they serve and can serve in their community, I think, will be the ones that would allow us to reach and differentiate better. Thank you.
We welcome suggestions from CHED and also from EDCOM, also from TEC. I agree with you na dapat yung LUC should be first and foremost catering to the local needs and the needs of their constituents, rather than offering courses that is really not connected to their needs. So, and this is a good opportunity to embed all of those mechanisms. I agree with you, and kailangan siguro before they offer course offering, chair groupies, is the may feasibility muna, consultation, bago sila mag-offer, let's say, whatever course that the school will offer, no? And those mechanisms should be embedded in the law, and we welcome suggestions. So, thank you, Madam Chairperson.
I was going to ask questions, but it's almost 4 o'clock. But what we'll do is we convert the 6 bills into TWGs. You just schedule it. Individual. We can have doesn't have to be 6 separate TWGs. Depende sa topics. Yeah. We will please advise you which of the 6 will be tackled together, but not all the 6 in one, because it's too much. Yes, probably 2 or 3, and we will have Chair Dr. Yee or EDCOM representatives in each of the bills. One last, who would like to make a statement on any of the measures?
Madam Chair.
Yes. So the closing remarks would come from Pasok. Yes.
Of course, we thank the good chair for having this discussion. It's really an opportunity for us to contribute to making our education within the Philippines future-looking. Now, on the reaction maybe on the comment of our friend from Teacher Education Council, that DepEd must be a member of the board of SUCs because there is a teacher education program in SUCs, I think is for us too much. Because there are many discussions in SUCs that does not involve teacher education. And if we will be pegging the DepEd secretary or representative there all throughout, it will be too much. We are also opening criminology. Maybe the PNP might also be requesting in the future to be sitting in the board to safeguard the criminology programs.
I think if the intent is only to safeguard the program quality of teacher education, we can invite DepEd maybe as resource person in any of our meetings whenever teacher education programs are being discussed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence here. We appreciate your active participation in our hearing today. I know that it's not easy to discuss 6 important measures, but because of the oil crisis, the expensive fare, we could have done this, however, on Zoom, pero iba pa rin yung face-to-face. Kaya in short, sinulit ko na yung inyong presensya na una, please isumitin ninyo, hindi kailangan ng hard copy, email lang nyo, soft copy, yung mga komento nyo. Salamat sa mga nagbigay na po ng inyong mga komento, at kung may karagdagan pa, ay ibigay nyo. Then we will advise you on the schedules and which bills will be tackled together. If you feel strongly about the passage of any measure, please do not hesitate to tell us. Don't spend your time there. Don't waste your time. We are against it. I like to hear that. I always like to hear opposition to what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Yes, you are the experts and we listen to you. And we don't like to pass bills that will not be funded, that will not be implemented, that will be ignored in the next administration, right? We want it to be useful. Pero tingin ko, ang pinakamalaga yung una. Yung una.
Oo.
Yung LUCs at saka SU, I think that's the most, and TESDA. O wag kalimutan daw si TESDA.
Sorry ma'am, pwede ako mag-last word after Dr. Tirso?
Yes. Sige. Oh,
Only to say, I think part of the issue really is the necessary alignment on the LUC governance bill with, in fact, the modernization of TESDA. Because as I think has been intimated by the DILG representative, what's missing is whether or not workforce development and employability is a part of the charter of the LUCs and how they would best deliver and plan for that. And the planning and the delivery of that actually falls directly under the mandate, not actually of CHED, but of TESDA.
Okay.
So those two things, Madam Chair, are actually linked to each other. And whether or not we devolve it to an LGU, sorry, last word, ma'am.
Yes.
Whether we devolve it to the LGU or we nuance the devolution to make it pass through the same kind of provisions that enables the LUCs to be chartered. Just to note, even as quoted by the representative from the DILG, what is in fact in the local government code IRR is not that they should be offering or opening local universities and colleges, but that they should be in fact creating manpower development through TVET institutions that are post-secondary. No, so
Okay.
it's in that space, Madam Chair, of the original intent in 1994 that perhaps these modernizations and governance chartering needs to be seen and addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know that there have been internal consultations on the creation of a Department of Tertiary Education that will merge Commission on Higher Education and TESDA. Okay, so I just put that on the table. It's another 3 hours of discussion because why will we discuss about modernization of TESDA? Why will we discuss about strengthening CHED, etc., or changing the charter if ang gusto pala ninyo, ang Department of Tertiary Education? Oh, ano yun? No, biglang tumahimik. Kasi papahirapan nyo ako sa 6. Papahirapan nyo kaya nga. Okay? But we will still proceed with the TWG. When will you give us your initial feedback on the Department of Tertiary? Kasi baka gagawin natin batas to, tas by next year you give me a bill. Ito na lang, ipagsama na lang. Hindi tayo pwedeng ganyan. Oo eh. Oh, gusto nyo i-modern, improve ang CHED, gawang cabinet level, tapos biglang gusto pala nyo magkasama kayo. Make up your mind. Huh?
Madam
Department of Tertiary Education. Okay? Nakatingin sa akin, nakatitig si Pasok, si Dr. Ronquillo.
Madam Chair, mas masaya kaming trifocal muna.
Ang aking nabalitaan dito, the Department of Tertiary Education is supported by TESDA. Totoo ba? O Kong Romulo, DepEdsec Angara.
Ma'am, if I may lang.
Senator Bob, ako hindi ko pa alam yun ha. Bakit ako huli sa balita? Hindi sinasabi na meron kayong consultation.
Hindi,
Oh.
ma'am, ano lang, there are certain things I think that need to be cleared. There are differences, for example, in formal, non-formal, and informal education. There are reconfigurations and new understandings of what tertiary education or post-secondary education may look like. There are new understandings of what a lifelong learning framework may look like. And all of this is actually currently, I think, on the table and being discussed as to what would be the best arrangement by which it can be, in fact, properly delivered. So it seems to be a moving terrain, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I don't think this will happen in the next few months anyway, in the next few years. So this is still 2028. We focus on the 6 measures. If we take out 1 or 2, we see for this year, okay? Before October, before the budget season. Whatever the output of your consultations on the Department of Tertiary Education, did I shock most of you by saying that? We will see what happens. Okay, Dr. Agrupis, you're not in favor of the Department of Tertiary Education.
I'm not yet,
convinced.
yes, Madam
Not yet
Chair.
convinced.
I'm
Ako rin,
not
ngayon
yet,
ko lang
we are
nalaman.
still, we are data driven.
Yes.
Until we unearth all the existing policy governing the higher education institution, we cannot solidify our stand as to this bill. But for us to have a take-home hope on looks and the establishment on looks and what's that? Governance of looks, the pathway of students enrolling to local colleges. I want to inform the Madam Chair and Senator Win that we are crafting new CMO because we want to be more proactive than reactive. So for the establishment of looks, we are already 90% done for the prescription on what to do, which include first feasibility study, certification of availability of funds, project development plan, title of the school site, 5-year, and among others. Second CMO that we are crafting is the establishment, the clear delineation of local colleges and community colleges and state university and colleges. We follow the principles of the community college framework that we will provide in partnership with TESDA, Madam Chair, the multi-path curriculum, the skill-based focuses on access to lifelong learning and industry focus. Soon we will submit to you the finalized CMO in partnership with TESDA, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. The last word belongs to Dr. Shirley Agrupis. I thank all of you for this. Meron pang gustong hihirit. Gusto ko yung last word palagi si Shirley. Okay. Thank you very much. We will suspend and convert to a technical working group based on the 6 measures. Thank you, Senator Sherwin. Thank you, everybody.